Students are often confronted with readings from many content areas. Likewise, there are also different writing discourse that must be done. In this video, we will talk about text patterns, specifically its definition, types, and examples. But before we start, hit the button below and you will be subscribed to my channel. According to Kinch and Yarbrough in 1982, the patterns selected by a writer play an important role in what and how we comprehend. The writer is responsible for making sure that the right pattern is triggered in the mind of the reader by the text. And researches in literacy learning over the past decades indicate that first, an understanding of various text structures and their purposes enhances students' ability to comprehend what is read. And second, that some text structures are more easily learned and understood before other more complex structures. And there are different types of text patterns, and there are signal words that would help us identify the structure of the paragraph. According to Vaca and Vaca in 1989 and Seidenberg in 1989, signals, in combination with the context of their use, determine text structure and not signal words alone. The following text structures are presented in order of increasing complexity, but not exactly in a linear sequence. In sequence pattern, steps or phases of a process or project are specified without cause-effect relationships being implied. This text structure gives readers a chronological of events or a list of steps in a procedure. Best examples of this are recipes or procedures since they just state the steps on how to do something. Commonly, sequence patterns use words like first, second, after, finally, etc. Look at this example. Read it and identify the characteristics of a text pattern evident in this excerpt. Time order text patterns are mostly observed in narrative text since the events and actions are unfolded over time. There are techniques used by writers to make the narrative exciting and more appealing instead of just stating events in a linear way. It is done through flashbacks and foreshadowing. Look at this example. Read it and identify the characteristics of a text pattern evident in this excerpt. Description structure gives the readers a mental picture by elaborating important descriptions, characteristics, or attributes. It is concerned with the explanation of persons and things in space. For example, a book may tell everything about whales in terms of appearance and size. Another example is it can describe what geography is like in a particular region. Is it plain land, mountainous, grassy, etc.? To give a clearer picture, examples are given preceded by phrases like such as. Look at this example. Read it and identify the characteristics of a text pattern evident in this excerpt. Definition structure includes a definition and examples of class membership or type, attributes, and functions. It may also include the parts and the relationship between the parts or structure and function. In some instances, it will include ways something is similar to or different from other things. Look at this example. Read it and identify the characteristics of a text pattern evident in this excerpt. Compare-contrast structure shows similarities and dissimilarities between objects, actions, ideas, or processes. Commonly, this structure uses words like although as well as, but, in contrast of, on the other hand, etc. Look at this example. Read it and identify the characteristics of a text pattern evident in this excerpt. Now, let's discuss the top-level structures that require a more holistic understanding of ideas presented. First, problem-solution structure. It sets problem or problems, it explains the solution, and then discusses the effects of the solution. This pattern may follow a number of different forms. At one extreme, the problem and solution are labeled as such. At the other extreme, the pattern is a series of questions and answers that may or may not lead to a resolution of the problem or issue. Look at this example. Read it and identify the characteristics of a text pattern evident in this excerpt. The cause effect structure talks about what happened and why. It carries the implication that the effect is produced by a specific cause. The signal words used in this structure are similar to the problem solution pattern. Proposition support structure is similar to problem solution, although arguments and counter arguments are both presented in support of a thesis statement. This type of structure is commonly observed in writing that aims to persuade the readers, such as editorial articles. There are more text patterns, but the last to be discussed is judgment critic structure. It uses a set of criteria to evaluate information or ideas that have been presented. It often uses discourse style like humor, satire, consultative, etc., which affects the complexity and understanding of this type of text. This type of structure is observed in play and movie reviews. Now that you're already familiar with the different text patterns, let's try this. Read the excerpts from different essays, then identify the text structure used. Explain your answers. Be more aware of what you read and let the text patterns help you better understand the meaning of the text. I'm Miss Honie P. Matuginas and I hope you learned something today. See you next time. Bye.